Gonna give it a minute, give it a few minutes. Yo, what's good? Vida Visceral. Thanks for joining. A little late night, not even late night, it's early evening stream. I got a co-host that's gonna be coming on in a few minutes. I'm just giving it some time because this shit has to tell everybody that we're live. We're doing it live. But how you been? Vida Visceral. Where did that name come from? Is it just like I know like visceral is shit? Is it just like living raw, like being raw is shit? I have a very literal mind. I have a very literal mind, so that's where it went to first. Do, 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 do. Ah, there he is. Good old Ace. Let me all right, Ron. I just sent you the request.
Yo,
What's good? Can you hear me?
what's up?
You can hear me, right?
Yes, sorry, I'm dealing with this little guy here.
No, you good, you good. Now let's give time to alert all your followers because you got way more people that would be tuning in than I got at the moment.
Oh, show.
Uh,
What have you been up to?
Say again?
What have you been up to?
Not much has been. I mean, I hate to say like, oh, not shit's not going on. Of course, stuff's going on. I'm just, I don't know. I've felt lately. I've just kind of been like on a kick of like, damn, I need to start. I really need to start taking a break. Hey, what's going on, everybody who's been joining in?
Break.
Cherry Blossom, Janal,
I'm
Dream
going
King.
full tripod.
Hell yeah.
I feel like this is the ultimate late quarantine hangout we're about to have,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
where we're just still holed up. We're like the last remaining survivors of this shit.
For the last one, still giving a fuck.
Yeah.
know.
No, I don't know why I can't get this to do what I want it to do. Hold up, redo.
Yeah, you good, you good. But hey, for everybody joining in, this is El Samboy, my co-host Ace Woe. I run a podcast, It's All Relative Podcast, and that's the page that we're doing. That obviously I'm doing the live from, and just as the name goes, that's just kind of reflecting my outlook on life. And I try to attach that to anything. I mean, whether it's I'm not shy about my feelings about anything, whether it's politics or relationships or personal development or spirituality or drugs and meaning of life or just good takeout spots, any and everything. And I just try to bring in as many good points, not even good points, just compelling points. You try to explain, develop a philosophy about everything. Have a fucking philosophy. You know, when
Yeah.
I engage with I shouldn't even say like, oh, when I engage with a lot of people, I just feel like a lot of folks who go through life, and I definitely feel as if I was definitely had this tunnel vision where people are just kind of lost. People just don't have no sense. They're just directionless,
Mm.
and you know, and really at the root of it, it's like it's not to say that people don't have experiences, they don't have a personality, or they don't care about stuff, but
Yeah.
there's I don't know if it's just like a threshold of experiences or a threshold of certain traits and things that you need to reach a point where you're like, oh no, here's my outlook or here's my, I don't know.
Did it cut out for you?
Yeah, I mean you cut. Yeah, I mean your side cut out a little bit. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. But yeah, so you said people are directionless.
Yeah, and I was, I very much felt I was directionless for a long time, and you really have to develop a philosophy. Otherwise, otherwise inevitably you're going to get swept up in some other shit. You're going to get swept up in you're either going to get swept up in and just, oh, I always have to be in a relationship, or the opposite. You could just be like, no, I'm just going to completely avoid relationships because you're waiting on the quote unquote perfect person or perfect conditions, or you get stuck, at a job, and even though you have opportunities to do something else and move on, it's like you just stick with what's comfortable, or you put up with certain things at a job, or just how people get stuck in a routine or stuck in, one way of doing things, and not really leaving themselves open to like adapt. People who will, or this is the attitude that people will complain about life, but then it's also clear in their behavior and their mindset that they're not open or willing to adapt or accept a new interpretation or a new way of doing
Yeah.
things. And I think actually a good example that I want to talk about from the jump is like romantic relationships and just what people are attracted to. Because there's this podcast I've been digging into lately. There's a comedian, his name is Neil Brennan. He's the white
Oh
friend that
yeah.
Dave Chappelle's always referring to. And he helped him write a
He's
lot
got
of that
some
shit.
great
And
specials.
oh yeah, Neil Brennan is fucking hilarious, in his own right. And he has a little podcast. And hey, what's going on, y'all? That's just joined, Cherry Maintainin. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. And Majid.
Really? He has a podcast.
Who? Neil Brennan? Yeah.
Okay.
And he has a co-host, and it's a woman, and she works at the
Oh yeah.
Comedy Store.
Who's his
And
co-host?
anyway, I forget her name exactly. I mean, she's just I want to say she's not anybody, but she's just like a regular person he knows from the store. I think she's like a waitress there and does like acting and stuff.
Huh. Okay.
I think her name is Bianca. I don't know what her last name is.
Bianca. Okay.
Yeah, and she's like Ethiopian and some type of Latin or
I'm gonna
whatever.
hit this
But basically, go ahead.
this singing bell. Singing bowl rather. Can you
Oh,
hear that?
yeah. Oh, the video's
So
kind of
you're not
laggy.
you're not supposed to just hit it. You're supposed to like make it sing, so to speak.
Oh,
But you can also just hit it. It works like a bell.
well, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But what they talk about, a lot of the times they talk about race and relationships.
Yeah.
And one of the things that gets brought up, when people talk about this thing is like, oh, what are you attracted to? What are your preferences, right? And oh, I guess Cherry Blossom knows what it is. It's a singing bowl.
Hmm.
And wait, so you're literally supposed to like sing to it, like use just like,
No. You're supposed to do it in a circle. I don't know if you can still see it. I guess I can hold it like this. And like some people even like put things inside of it. Like I have this little die, I think it's 12-sided die.
uh
Yeah. And then just like a little like piece of metal in there to kind of make
uh
it vibrate. But you're supposed to do this with it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
oh, I know okay.
This is making it really quiet actually, holding it with those things in it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now that you're doing that, I do know what a singing bowl is. I just never knew that's what it was called.
Yeah, and then you can kind of let it ring out like that. I don't know.
No, that could be
It's like a
relaxing. Part of some
meditation.
like nice little ritual, meditation and shit.
If you have a bunch of them, like bigger ones, you can like
Hmm.
make different tones and kind of set them to be different, I guess, frequencies or whatever, um, for the purpose of your meditation.
Hmm.
Like some of them have really ominous tones. Some of them
Mm.
have really, you know what I mean? Like I guess happier tones.
Hmm. Hell yeah. No, yeah. Now
It's
that you
funny
did
because
that, I've. I know exactly what they are, and I've been around them,
Yeah.
seen them many times. They're dope as fuck.
Yeah. This is just like a little mini one for your living room, I guess. But
Hmm.
what I was gonna say is, what took me a minute to get onto the live here is I was just setting this back up again, like the TV kind of bookshelf thing behind me.
Hmm.
It's a record shelf, but you know, we also have the TV on it in the living room, and I had it wrapped up for a couple of weeks because we got this new cat. I'll see if he'll let me pick him up.
Okay.
And I was wrestling with this little guy for like, I don't know, it felt like forever, but it was probably only 20 minutes. But he wouldn't let me like set up my shit because he was so just, I don't know. He gets the zoomies after dinner time.
Yeah.
And he wants to run around.
Yeah, animals,
He's a good
especially
one.
cats, they do their own thing.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Do you have any
Oh, so what I was?
cats?
No, I don't own any pets. I've never been too much of a pet person, and I know some people feel they have certain types of way. I gotta watch it because what I was saying before was I'm like, oh, I'm not an animal person, and some people they give their look like, oh, so you're just a piece of shit. You're just you're worse than animals. It's like no, it's like no, it's like I don't go around like kicking dogs and shit. I don't go around fucking
You
with
just don't have
animals.
any pets.
I just don't have any pets. But really what it is, what I should be saying is that like I'm fine with animals, but some people that call themselves like pet people, it's not the pets, it's not the animals, it's the humans, it's the people who are
Yeah.
just
They're
like,
annoying.
you know, yeah, they're fucking annoying.
They're
They're just like, oh,
obnoxious.
yeah, they're super fucking obnoxious and they treat you like they they make you feel a certain way if you don't share the exact same feeling towards, you know, animals.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sorry that I connect more with a creature that as complex as a human, and that's what I prefer to that's off of. And I try not to fuck with animals any more than I absolutely have to, like eating them and everything.
Also,
But
it's an expense to like own one. Like if it was no big deal, like
Mhm.
maybe you might have something around the house or whatever. But I'm sure. Did you have any pets when you were younger or anything?
We did. It was like we had a family dog or whatever, and the only
Yeah,
person
yeah.
and the only person who took care of it really was my dad. Um,
Okay.
the rest of us weren't engaged, and then each of my siblings they've each had their own different kinds of pets. I just never ended up getting a pet, and like I said, I try not to, the only way that I exploit animals that I know of is like just by eating meat and everything. Besides that, I mean, I feel like I'm as nice to them as and leave them be as much as I,
Yeah.
possibly can. Beside that, but some pet people, they're just like, oh, they're better than humans and they're better. It's like, yeah, look, I'm sorry that some of the humans that you happen to be around are pieces of shit, but you know, it's like there's no animal, saying that can help you with your rent or, you know, I know we read stories about like, oh, this dog, pulled their human out of a burning building and shit. 9 times out of 10, they're running the hell away. Or if it's like cats and shit or like reptiles, they'll start eating your dead body. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
He
let
was
it
a
go.
rescue, so he needed a
Yeah,
home. But
yeah. No, I'm all for that because I mean, I'm also with the idea that it's like, hey, you know, sometimes your animal companion will be the most, decent companion that you have around you, depending on where you are and what's going on with you and everything. It's just when
yeah,
people, I
that's
think,
true.
it's just when I feel like people make that shit a part of their personality or they use that as like a substitute and don't acknowledge the fact that, you also need some human bonds. you
Yeah.
know,
Interesting.
you know. It's a lonely, unforgiving world out there, and if it's like, and if going home and being able to just pet a dog or have a pet a cat or bundle up to your favorite little snake or gecko or whatever the hell you're into, I ain't mad at that. Find
Yeah.
happiness in this world, you know, and
Speaking
don't
of
go broke trying to find it.
speaking of animals in cages, did you see any of the town halls?
I didn't. I was right before we got on. I was actually listening to. So I don't watch a lot of. I've never been big into like political I'll keep up with the news and like the consequence of stuff and keep up with the theory, but I've never been one that could really enjoy like watching town halls or debates or, interviews and shit. I've never been into like the theater.
They're hard to watch. Yeah, they're hard to
Yeah.
watch.
But I do
I
catch
didn't
the,
watch any of the town halls. I turned on the Trump one for like a second, and then we just laughed and changed it.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really all they're good for. But, but I do listen to a lot of people whom they will watch it and give their commentary on it.
Exactly. So you'll get to hear the breakdown on all like the highlights, so to speak, or low lights rather.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the stuff that I saw from Trump's town hall that he did, woo, that moderator was on his ass from the very beginning. Like she started off saying that like, she was like, this was supposed to be a debate between Trump and Biden, but Trump, didn't want to, follow the rules and shit. So now he's doing a town hall to rival Biden's town hall, which is happening at the same time on, I don't know if it was ABC or CNN.
And Biden
probably
got
CNN.
Better ratings, apparently.
And Biden got better ratings, yeah. And Trump, and the thing is that Trump isn't really good when he has to answer questions. When he can just go up there and just rile up the base, just rally and everything, yeah, that's what he's good for. But when he actually has to like...
The thing is he has such a guilty conscience that everything he starts opening his mouth about it sounds super defensive. It just sounds like he's explaining himself, and reasonably so. But if he was more intelligent and more savvy, he would just lay low and try to, roll with the punches, so to speak. But yeah, he looked desperate. He looked sweaty. He looked like he was choking up a little bit here and there, and I was just like, you look so dumb. But all right, I guess he probably would look maybe more stupid in a debate.
Yep. No, I mean, exactly, either of those. I'm just so glad that the facade is now becoming, there's always going to be that number of people whom support him no matter what. But there are some people whom they need to witness train wrecks in order to be convinced, saying they have to see the worst. They have to see the worst possible outcome for them to finally be like, oh, so this is what was going on. It's like, why is it barely that these, like the way that he got treated tonight or yesterday, whenever that town hall was, should have been the way he got treated by the media from the very beginning. He shouldn't have just been treated like this. He shouldn't have been treated just like this, he was treated like a joke. It's like, yeah, he's easy to laugh at as long as he doesn't have power over others. But then he gets power over others and he's a malevolent force. I mean, hell, he's always has been. It's just that then he ascended to the highest fucking office, and we've had 4 years, going on 4 years of the shit that's happening now. Like it's one thing to talk about the over 200,000 people who died from COVID just since January, and then you have to consider all the people that are still in cages at the borders, the people who died from losing access to their health care, people who died from, these riots and shit and people being targeted. It's so much damage that is undeniably come as a source of his presence.
Yeah.
But no, but I am going to be catching up on that and seeing some of the highlights and the lowlights. I'm definitely going to enjoy that.
For sure. Well, I have been smoking lately, and I thought that I might enjoy a nice little doobie.
Yeah, do your thing, dude.
While we do our thing here.
As a matter of fact, I'm about to pop an edible.
Nice.
Just because I can't smoke inside. But yeah, the oh, I see you got the electronic drum kit over there.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, we got a bunch of other people joining. Thanks for coming in, y'all. We appreciate y'all.
I figured
I would
set it up here.
Give us a minute, y'all. We about to really get into our stuff once we get situated. Oh yeah, and don't forget that the IG live, it ends after an hour, and so I'll make sure that I send that, and then if we, I'm sure we'll still want to chop it up after that, but we'll have to start up another hour. I think YouTube live is longer, So maybe later down the road, I'll start using that. Because this phone, I got a new phone, and it must just be because it's a better receiver and everything and transmitter. But it is my connection has been really good with this, and the video is much better, crisper.
Look at this little guy.
Uh,
He's a mischief. Look at him. He wants to bite me. Bite me. Little buddy.
What's going on, Leonisa? And what's going on, everybody else that's joined in? Good seeing y'all. So yeah, so the first thing that I was talking about earlier at the beginning was about dating preferences and romantic interests and everything, and how, on one hand people will be like, yeah, the cat is cute, isn't it?
Sorry,
How
man.
people
I had to put the cat out, and I missed the last thing you said.
you good.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But I was talking about like attraction and romantic interest and what people, their preferences and everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, live and let live. People have their preferences, and you're like, I'm just attracted to this, I'm just attracted to that. And at the same time, it's like, okay, but then you also have it's like also what have set the conditions of what you're attracted to. Because, some people, a lot of times people will try to wave it off as if it's just like, I just have my preferences and you shouldn't try to change me. It's like, I'm not trying to change you. I'm just asking why, and just, like, just trying to get you to think, like, could you not consider somebody attractive could you not be able to consider somebody attractive if they had these traits, but it just had a particular orientation or arrangement? Like some people would just, to give concrete example, it's like some people will be like, oh, I don't date, like a woman may be like, oh, I only date, saying dark men that are over 6 foot, whatever the fuck, built like this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And it's like, okay, yeah, we get that your preference, and there's things about like, oh, women wanting to feel small and wanting to feel protected and everything like that. But at the same time, though, it's like, do you actually think, and if that's the case, then what you're prioritizing is the accessory of this man as opposed to his personality. Because you're not saying, oh, I want somebody who's loyal, has their shit together, blah, 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 and is also tall, dark, and handsome. Mm-hmm. You just focused on the attributes, what I'm saying, that are complementary to you and kind of fit your preconceived notions of how your life should be. And then the talk on the man side, obviously it's a lot more obvious, it gets, what men are usually into. They just want somebody with the fucking body, type they like, that will fuck them as much as they want, in general, right? But but because I get frustrated, what I'm saying, like even if I was dating somebody who was like, or seeing somebody, hanging out with somebody who was just like, oh, I'm only into black guys, and it's just like, well, and it's because it's kind of like, well, it's like, I mean, it's not like somebody being black is inherently makes them a partner. It's like it's if you're looking for decent traits and attributes and shit, that's available in people of all backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you're really saying when you say like, oh, I'm only attracted to black guys, is that you're just saying that your pool of experiences or your pool of what you're drawing from is really, really shallow, and you're not leaving yourself open to like adapting a new framework or leaving open the possibility of finding somebody who really makes you happy, but has different, attributes, characteristics on the outside.
Yeah. They don't really teach this in school.
Not at all. They don't teach a lot of shit in school. Hell, at the same time though, I didn't really get this at home either. I didn't get this in most of my social, dynamics. This is shit I had to kind of come across my own and listening to other people and making mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are your thoughts on that when people are just like, oh, when they say like, oh, it's just my preferences, but then you also got to question where your preferences come from, and then how open do you leave yourself to being challenged?
Are you talking about like people who like have fairly consistent relationship issues, and then they wonder why, and they're kind of like talking.
I'm not even. Well, no, because I don't necessarily think that people with that mentality, because I'm not making a connection like, oh, if you think that way, then you must have bad relationships. You could have
Yeah,
met your high school sweetheart. As a matter of fact, that's a good example. It's like you can have somebody who fell in love with their high school sweetheart, and it's just been with them ever since. And then when they talk about, you know, when you ask them like, what are the characteristics, you'd be like, oh, I could only date somebody who was like this. And it's kind of like, well, on one hand, it's cool that you fell in love with this person and established a stable life. At the same time, though, when you think about it, it's like, okay, you were drawing from a very limited set of experiences and perspective at this time of your life. It just so happened
yeah,
to work out in the long run, but it was still very, it could be said to be very superficial or very, uh, um, you're limiting your potential,
yeah, yeah. It
you know?
happens. I mean, um, it reminds me of. Uh, Sorry, I think it's cutting out. You there?
Uh, yeah, I'm here. I was just waiting on you.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. It was like freezing up or something, but man, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm honestly, I haven't smoked in a while, and then now I'm back to
Yeah,
wagon, basically.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never, I guess, never really thought about it too much, to be honest, because in a
Hmm.
way, I am still with like my high school sweetheart. So,
Hmm.
but it's I've we've had our moments, if if you want to look at it that way. But
Yeah,
yeah, but we do live together now, so.
yeah. Well, do you feel like, has it ever been the conversations of, I'm sure the conversations have come up and been like, okay, what did you find attractive? You know, because of course, it's like, yeah, we all have the stuff that we look for physically,
I've
stuff
always,
externally.
yeah, I don't know. I've always thought about it as everything except for the physical part of it, I guess. Like, so, I don't know. But, uh, yeah. What made you start thinking about this subject?
Oh, well, like I mentioned before, I was listening to a podcast. Well, I shouldn't say I was listening to a podcast, but it's like it's as far as it being in my mind recently, I was listening to that podcast, Neil Brennan's podcast with that
Oh,
woman,
right, right.
and they talk about, one of the things that they talk about a lot is relationships, and they both, they're very candid individuals, and um, the co-host, she's she has a really good perspective as well as a woman, and it's not the mainstream one that you'll hear
I
typically.
thought you might want to see this while you explain. I got a Smith and Wesson knife.
Oh,
Can you see
really?
the? Can
Now
you
it's
see it
like
on there?
it's cutting. Well, yeah, barely. But it's like but the video still kind of lags.
Okay. Anyway,
Do you see
I'm gonna
yourself
open this
lagging, or
joint.
do you see yourself lagging, or do you see me lagging?
No, I saw you lagging a little bit earlier, but not right now.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yours is this thing. Yeah, I don't know, but
Mine is
in any
still doing
case,
it.
it's like it's here and it's there. Like the audio is pretty consistent, but the video is like choppy.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
turn off some of these. Maybe it's because I had my TV on over here on the side.
Mm.
I'm on the Wi-Fi. Anyway, so what were they talking about on Neil Brennan's podcast?
So they talk about relationships and like they talk about a lot of different stuff, but two of the big things they talk about is race and relationships. And so, that example of people dating and having their preferences and be like, oh, I'm only attracted to this, I'm only into that. And it's like, I understand. It's like, you know, like, yeah, I have my preferences and I have things that I tend to go to. But at the same time, I feel like I've had to be adaptive and realize like, oh, when I see somebody or find traits in a person that I find attractive and it's not something I typically thought of, I don't I don't try to make a justification for it. I'm just like, oh shit, I was wrong, and now I'm going to adapt my framework and realize that that there's a much wider variety pool of candidates that there could be or potential, and that I shouldn't limit myself. And that's why I was mentioning before how some you know, on one end, some men may be like, oh, I can only date a chick if she's built like this and, you know, body like that and blah, 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 and no kids. And then on the other side, women could be like, oh, I can only do tall, dark, and handsome and has to be making this kind of money and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, really what people are doing is that they're not looking at it from the potential of adapting to partnership. They're just looking at one another they're just looking at partners as accessories.
Yeah, right. Like an object
Mm-hmm.
to attain, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that like there's some people, you know, and there are plenty of marriages and relationships that work in this manner and are more like business contracts.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, look, you know, I'm not here to tell. Obviously, I'm not here to tell people what they, you know, can or can't do. Of course, you're going to do whatever, but you know, for those whom recognize this shit in society and you want to try to avoid it, it's like, you know, you got to talk about it. And so, you know, and I will say for my part, there were definitely some things that I like to look. It definitely has to do with the way you grow up, the way you view relationships in early formative years, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, of course, there's the aspect of how you know develop relationships. That's part, and then also just like when people say, "Oh, I'm only, you know, I only like certain features, and I can't date these people, and I can't date those kind of people," and it's kind of like, so wait a minute, so you would find somebody. So if you found somebody with all the internal traits and had their life together in the way that you expect somebody that fits within your framework, you wouldn't try to make anything happen with them just because they don't have the same external qualities, you know. And it's like, and the fact is that yeah, a lot of people do feel that way. And you know, I know that there's different pressures of like, oh, you know, I have to marry within the religion, or if I marry outside my ethnicity, it'll be a real problem and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, but and then again, but then again, it's like, you know, you have to think about the relationships and shit that would be threatened by that. You're like, you finding joy and happiness and satisfaction with a agreeable partner would disrupt your other relationships. Then it's like, you gotta, maybe that's a sign to you that you need to make a choice. You know, not an easy choice, but a choice nonetheless. You know, because there's always going to be physical traits. Of course, there's always going to be stuff that we like on the outside and on the inside. But then you have to think about, okay, how did you even get to that point in the first place? It's just like how you grow up and you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel like we need to set your philosophies to some music.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Oh yeah, I was actually just reading the comment. So Vito Visceral saying the superficiality of that mindset. Oh shit. Definitely sounds like insecurity too. Been there. It's just limited perspective, and I do think ignorance to a certain extent. Yeah, you know, and and I guess that's really what I'm trying to, what I would put it more bluntly is to just be like, okay, I get that those are your preferences and everything, but what you're speaking from is a very limited perspective and a limited context, and you have a certain level of ignorance, which is why, like, I've definitely met people, non-black women, who said that, oh, I don't date black men, even though they could interact with me on any other level in a cool way. They're just like, no, I don't date black men. And then also, it's just like, even if I'm talking to somebody who exclusively only dates black men or hangs out with black people, and it's like, okay, but that shouldn't be the only prerequisite. What I'm saying? There should be more. There should be more there. And
is Neil Brennan? I forget. Is Neil Brennan married?
No, he's a longtime bachelor.
Okay, longtime bachelor. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check out that podcast because I do love me some Neil Brennan.
Yeah, he's good. And the woman, yeah, like I said, she's a little bit younger. I think she's closer to our age. And like I said, her perspective on it is very refreshing, and I think she adds a lot of good counterpoints that only a woman can offer. Mm-hmm. but yeah, but that was, but that was on my mind recently. Um, it's because it's like, of course, you always still think about like, like I'm single and everything, but I still think about um, the possibility and shit. It's like still want to have rewarding, saying bonds with others,
Mm-hmm.
even if the terms in which we have to engage are a little wonky. Still got to make shit happen. It's like months. It's I just I, it was I was I'm laughing at myself because I was thinking months ago into the pandemic and shit, and I'm seeing like how other countries were handling it and how like some of the Asian countries that they had like the people in hair salons and barbershops giving people shampoos with a fucking broomstick standing like 6 foot away.
What? I did
And
not
I'm
see
just
that.
like, look at this goofy ass shit. And then like, I think about where we're at now and that now, wearing masks and having like a coronavirus season and shit, that's going to become a regular thing for us.
Yeah, right.
We're going to have to adapt. Our way of life is forever changed. And, there's been a lot of rewarding things and also to keep going about relationships. And I guess this is probably like one of the main things you talk about tonight is just social bonds. I don't want to talk too much about like specific like political or too much like deeper social shit.
Hmm.
I just want to talk about personal stuff. But deep into like broadening of the scope of relationships, just any bonds you have, professional, platonic, family, and everything.
Yeah.
The events following the shutdown have really revealed a lot about oneself, myself, and then also the people in my circle.
Yeah.
Some
How
bonds
so?
have well, I mean, some bonds have become stronger because we realized that certain people really wanted to lean into their relationship with others, and it was reciprocated. You know, um, and it's just the little things of just either sending somebody a post regularly because you know that it's y'all share the same interests in certain topics, or to entertain them, or just reaching out and being like, hey, I was just thinking about you, we should chop it up, or just seeing how you're doing and everything. Just those little like acts of showing somebody that they're on your mind, or they're on your mind, and then they reciprocate that without prompt. It's just spontaneous, just showing they're really there. And then there are other people that you may have tried to hit up, at least I tried to hit up, and they seemed really perturbed, really bothered by the fact that you're trying to just hit them up on some casual conversation. Whereas and the
Yeah,
thing
or
and
they just
the
seem they avoid the conversation or just messaging in general.
yeah, exactly. They just run away. They're like, oh, they can only text or they can only hit you up through certain means and everything. And it's just like, why don't you just say that you don't want to talk or you don't feel, blah blah blah. It's like, why are you, playing? And the thing is that like before, where I would try to really dig through and have a sense of guilt and be like, damn, what did I fuck up, or am I not being, I would stress myself out and get anxious because I'd be like, okay, what way am I not meeting expectations?
Yeah,
But then after a
interesting.
while, when I look at it, I'm just like, wait a minute, if I'm the one that's been hitting this person back and they haven't returned, saying, oh, I'll get back to you later, blah, blah, blah. And it's been like 4 or 5 times, 6 times of this. It's like, dude, take a
Yeah,
hint. It's like, take a hint. They don't want to be fucking bothered. And they also just don't have the guts to say it,
yeah,
you know?
interesting.
And so it's just made me kind of, where some bonds got stronger, some I just decided like, I'm not going to burn the bridge, but I'm just going to visit it less often. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not going to be trying to initiate as much shit.
yeah. So, do you? I forget. Do you smoke?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, but you're on some edibles right now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just because I don't want to walk outside because I have to walk outside to smoke.
Gotcha.
Um, but have you noticed any changes in your relationships, your bonds during this time?
I mean, yeah, definitely seeing people a lot less, but
Hmm.
honestly, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't see my OC people as often, and I don't see my family as often.
Yeah. Y'all stay in
But
contact though?
I
Like, do y'all communicate or have exchange? Is
yeah, like on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Mostly Facebook and Instagram would be you know, the places. But
Yeah.
I've also met some people out here that are pretty chill, and yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to focus on my album because
Hmm.
yeah, there's still a lot to be done on it.
Yeah.
It's like I would say it's like maybe 90% finished, but
Okay.
that final 10% is really important to get that right, and then send it off to the engineer to be mixed and mastered.
Okay. That's what's up. What's the subject matter? What's the theme?
Oh yeah, so um, actually, I was gonna pull some images up
Hmm.
on my shit here just to have in the background.
Okay.
But here, watch. I can just put this on like a slideshow or something, and then kind of like walk you through. So this is just some concept art I've been working on.
Hmm.
I'll pull the camera closer in a second here.
Okay.
Can you see my laptop?
Yeah, I can see it. It's still gonna be choppy though. Um, and yeah, and if anybody in the comments, if anybody is whoever's watching, if you still have your own comments to leave, your own insights about what I was just talking about, relationships, how things have changed since the COVID lockdown, and just seeing different sides of people.
So it's kind of hard for me to. Oh yeah, okay, you can see my screen. So that's the Aztec calendar. Now that's superimposed with the moon.
Okay.
So um, that's a calavera skull. It's like a base. It's like based on the candy skulls from the. Actually, they're up here too.
Hmm.
Forgot I got some of these. These guys. So I might be doing like a music video with this, like something, a concept with these skulls. That's why I got two of them, so we could fuck around with props. Don't want to give too much away, but have you ever been to Olvera Street?
Just give us the cliff. Just give us the cliff notes, Vita Viscera. We can go into details on a later
Oh, what
stream.
was that about? The superficiality of what? Oh, he's talking about the relationship stuff. Okay, so basically, my album, it's called Xolo, XOLO. Sorry, this thing is like rickety as fuck. So it's called Xolo. It's it's based on like my Mexican heritage,
Hmm.
and like so I was asking, have you ever been to Olvera Street?
I don't think so.
So you've never gotten like one of these Aztec calendars?
No, no, but I've seen. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I've seen it 1,000 times.
I'm like just getting it closer and closer and
Hmm.
closer.
Oh yeah.
um, so yeah, anyway, it's a loose concept. I'm still hammering out some of the details myself, to be honest, because it's still coming to me in a way. I,
Hmm.
I have the music. The music is pretty much done, but I need to add some, vocals. I want some featured artists on it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I actually have a studio session next week to finish like what will probably be like the second single.
Hmm.
The lead single is pretty much done. I guess I could just play it. I don't know how it's gonna sound on.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm gonna read these
Do we,
comments.
do we
Um,
want to do the world premiere?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And no rush. I'm gonna read these comments real quick. Cherry Blossom
Word.
says exactly way too much to even type out yet. I agree with what you're stating, Sam boy. Um, Specifically, what part though? And then Vita, hold on this. Oh shit. Vita Visceral. I'm definitely on the other side of it though. Been disconnected and going inwards. It doesn't mean I don't still think of my friends or appreciate them any less though. LOL. Of course not. But I do need to remember that friendships and relationships need nurturing, and everyone receives love differently. Yeah, and that's it. And I guess that's the other point to kind of tie that up about the relationships thing is that and I've definitely had my own part of driving inwards and and just focusing on myself and everything. But I guess really what it kind of underscored for me is that how much I really, when you have time to slow down and really take stock of what you really care about, it's like, damn, I really do just enjoy the receiving of texts and the sharing of memes and the exchange of like the little shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't care about. It's like, yeah, I enjoy the events, I enjoy the shows and the gigs and all that other stuff, but it's like it's all of that stuff comes down to having a shared meaningful experience with other people, you know? And it just gets frustrating because you feel like you're offering, investing in this relationship and trying to nurture it, and the other person is not doing so, but then they're also not explaining and making it obvious, making it clear why. So you don't know.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you're at fault or just something going on with them, or if it's just something not be worried about and just let it sort itself out.
Yeah, you kind of have to just, I would say, well, depending on the severity of, how well you knew them before this type of thing started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, with most people, I feel like you don't get that much of a chance to know them really.
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe there's you know sort of passive friendship developing, and then at some point they stop responding or they just don't whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of just gotta shrug, I guess, is really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that sounds um, inconsiderate or something of me to say, but because obviously there's a lot of gray area and there's a whole spectrum of different types of relationships and specifically in the category that you're describing,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you just gotta shrug. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
because like people are just going through things, and I feel like I don't know, the good ones stick around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's because it's like, because I've never been somebody who has just, like, oh, all of my friends, saying stay. Like, I'm just one of those people where like a lot of my friends and everything are not people that are within like a 5 mile radius of me. So I have to go see them. So I'm just like, I guess I'm just really acclimated to the idea of like, you know, wherever somebody stays or whatever, it's like keeping that touching base with them to some degree. Some people you only hit up, yeah, some people you may only hit up once a week. Some people you only may hit up once every month or every few months and shit. But it's at least showing that level of you're trying, you're initiating something, and it doesn't take a lot of effort, you know. And then we'll read this next comment, and then we'll move on to your music. Vita Visceral says, yeah, if you feel any pushback or rejection, just drop that. It's a self-respect thing at that point. But I agree, it depends on the relationship you have with them. Then there's grounds for asking why. You definitely only want people who reciprocate your energy. Yeah, reciprocation,
For sure.
you know? So about this album, this work, what is the theme, subject matter?
Yeah. So it's still kind of, again, it's supposed to musically speak for itself anyway. None of the, I mean, the ideas or the overarching themes or whatever are. It's not supposed to be like super explicit, the
Mm-hmm.
same way that like the Beatles, they released, and this is probably a good lesson for me to learn here from the Beatles. I don't know how much you know about Sergeant Pepper's, but basically, it was a loose concept.
Uh,
They wanted to get away from their Beatles personas, and they wanted to figure out how to write from these different perspectives. So Paul McCartney kind of pioneered the idea. I think he had come up with the name itself and stuff, and then they did the photo shoot and stuff. But really, that concept isn't like spelled out anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, at least not on the like it's not on the liner notes or anything like that.
mm-hmm.
Maybe it is. Maybe there is a lot of stuff in the liner notes of Sergeant Pepper's, but it's mostly like lyrics. Like that was basically, if not the first, was inside. I don't know if you could hear me. It seemed like it was cutting out.
It did cut out. It cut out for a few seconds.
Yeah, I was just saying that Sergeant Pepper's was like one of the first albums to have liner notes, like with lyrics and you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
extensive artwork, or it even had like a fold out poster like thrown inside of it or something. So
Yeah.
anyway, what was I getting at? Oh, Sergeant Pepper's wasn't really finished. Like they just eventually were like, all right, let's finish this and put it out,
Hmm.
or let's package it. You know, they were working on all the packaging and the final mixes and everything, and supposedly they were actually at one point supposed to entirely re-record A Day in the Life. So I don't
Hmm.
know. Do you know the last song on Sergeant Pepper's?
I don't know hardly any Beatles shit. I was never into the Beatles like at all.
Yeah, no worries. So I'll just give a brief synopsis. Essentially, A Day in the Life is considered to be like their masterpiece,
Okay.
or one of their masterpieces. So um, Lennon had come forward with like an acoustic piece that he was writing, and then Paul had this other idea, like for the piano. They ended up combining the songs and then kind of rewriting and arranging an outro, like this epic, like bombastic outro to the album, you know.
Hmm.
But what ended up happening is just based on like the timing of when they wanted to release it and whatever else. I guess you can blame it on the label in that sense. They were maybe pressuring them to give them
Hmm.
a final product. Instead of re-recording that song, they just took like what was essentially the demo for the song, and that is
Hmm.
the song. But it has
Okay.
since become known as one of the greatest songs of all time and one of the Beatles' best songs ever, etc. So my point is this fucking album I'm working on. At a certain point, I'm gonna have to kind of throw my hands up and go, all right, I've been working on it long enough. Let me just put it out because
Yeah.
as much as I want it to be perfect and stuff like that, it will never be perfect. So yeah, I'm in that weird stage of production where I'm trying to figure out the best way to stick the landing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's easy to get caught
yeah,
up on any stage of the process. My band, T-Gom, we're we've had back and forths, or not back and forths, but we had uh lots of ups and downs and like periods of like sporadic development and then lagging on stuff. But it's like um still just kind
yeah,
of creating this still trying to but still trying to keep that track, keep that momentum up of creating content and everything. And it's going to be really interesting just seeing how like we've developed all the different reference, because I mean at the end of the day it's just a different reference point. That's just something in your belt when you say like, just like, oh, when you've learned to play an instrument, or when you learn to get on stage without that dread of stage fright and everything, and then you just see how can you take it further, and at least you have that reference point of like, okay, at least I got that under my belt. It wasn't the best experience, it wasn't the best expression of what I was trying to say, but hey, there's always next time. you know
yeah, for
it's
sure.
sometimes it's easy to get caught up and want to make everything that you do the most perfect representation of that idea and shit. And it's just like, sometimes it's not that. Sometimes you work really hard, you put a lot of effort into something, and then you look back on it and you're kind of like, ooh, that was just like a rough draft um,
Yeah,
of it. And then everything that came after that was just because you had already put that effort in and conditioned yourself. You don't have to put in as much effort, but then you get a better product, something that's even more sophisticated or even more true to what you were trying to say the first time.
hmm,
So sometimes it's just nice to
very
kind of
true.
just sometimes it's nice to just go ahead and kick the shit out and not be too perfectionist, because I'm definitely on that side. Like we're a four-member band, and two of them are very much about things sounding closer to perfect, and two of us are more on the side of it having some rough edges in there. And I'm one of the people who's fine with the rough edges.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but we still meet in the middle, and we still meet in the middle, and we still make shit that we're proud of and enjoy performing. And, that's what's been able to keep, kind of what is really like a ragtag group of motherfuckers that wouldn't normally, be in a band or be collabing together. But it's like, but we
Yeah.
do, we enjoy it. And we still been able to make some moves, excuse me, do some things. And as a matter of fact, I actually got to take my bass to the guitarist so that way he can do some work on it so I can
Oh,
finish
really?
recording. So that way, because it's kind of fucked up. But he's learning all the tech shit, and
Nice.
because
Ryan or
Ryan,
Matt?
yeah, Ryan, yeah,
Okay.
and Matt sometimes will do like second guitar, depends on the song and everything. But it's mainly just like
Yeah.
we're just a classic 4-piece band: drummer, singer, bassist, guitarist,
Okay.
and yeah, I'm gonna take it to Ryan. And he's gonna look at it and fix it because it's fucked up, and I need to record. One of the things that's been holding up lately has been like me re-recording a part for a song that we want to release.
Okay.
And so yes, that was just kind of a long side note to what you were saying about like perfectionism and
Yeah.
just kind of how long do you sit on something or how long do you wait to you know
To release something.
to release it. Yeah. No, sorry, I thought you was about to say something, so I just I just stopped.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm thinking about smoking this cigar. Actually, no, I shouldn't smoke this inside, but I just like got a bunch of random shit at the smoke shop, like to smoke with. I had some swishers and stuff too, but I actually rolled a couple blunts a few.
I was gonna say it sounded like you wanted to have
Days
like
ago.
it sounded like you wanted to have a smoker party.
Yeah. Well, I invited my brother over here Sunday to. We're gonna watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
And have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't. I know what it is though. Classic
Yeah.
Western.
Oh yeah, you got to see it. It was much better than I thought.
I think it's one of those films where like I've just seen bits and pieces of it and seen like the iconic scenes. You know.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was for a long time. I was just like, okay, I didn't really care. It's just like, all right,
Yeah.
maybe one day I'll watch it. But
There was a very short window when I was a movie person. Very short window. Like as a kid, we grew up seeing a lot of stuff, and we go see shit. But it's like after a while, when it was just on me, and like, oh, I can go to movies any day of the week I want. I really didn't. And as a matter of fact, one of the only things that got me back into movies, like in the last several years, was I was doing secret shopping, mystery shopping, where I would go
oh,
in.
really?
Oh yeah, where I would go in and I had to be like taking note of the experience, like at the bar and the concession stand, and
Yeah,
saying and all that shit, and then I'd get compensated for all that shit, all the concessions, and then for the movie ticket. So I was going and
nice.
just, so I would go and watch movies for free. And some movies I would see and be pleasantly surprised, and other ones I'd anticipate and they were shit. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I never used to be super crazy about movies. I was always much more interested in like music and like I could just I was just always indulging much more in like yeah, I don't know what it was. And it's not that I don't have favorite movies. It's not that I don't think they're not good works of art and take a lot of work. But for whatever reason, I just never really been able to sit with them. As a matter of fact, I've downloaded several movies this past year. You know what I think you know what it
Huh.
is that I've been getting more into, I'm not getting more into, but that I don't really care about
Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Oh, we only got about 25 seconds remaining on this one. So
All right,
I'm gonna
let's go
go.
back.
Yeah. So everybody that's listening, I gotta end this one, and then we'll come back in about 10 seconds, and I gotta make sure I save this video so I don't lose